Awesome. Good morning, everyone from the Pacific Northwest. I am going to try my best to share my screen. Are you all able to see the screen? No? Okay.
Sorry, I only have audio, so not able to see the screen currently.
Okay. Let me see. I will just go by the agenda and that will probably be easy. And then we can upload it later to share with everyone. So good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Shante Elbert. I am one of the co-chairs for our WHPKC. Also on the line are two others that I can see from our exec board. Ashley Hinton from UKC, the other co-chair, Oliver, who is a long-standing executive board leader who holds us down with marketing communications. Some of our other exec board members that I cannot tell if they're up here quite yet. We have Nishali Ahmed. She is from UConn. She is over some of our engagement and awards. Joy Allison, and then Dr. Alicia Battle, who are also on our executive board. So I want to start off with some of the things that we've been working on for the past year. So big shout out to Ashley, who has been my co-chair, incoming co-chair for the past year, and we ended up having to step up to be current co-chairs. So we started about 8 months early because of some changes from the previous co-chairs and getting new positions. And the biggest thing I want to emphasize is that because of that, we really wanted to focus on this year and rebuilding our KC to fill a few positions. And so we are in heavy recruitment to fill our executive board. I would love for Oliver to have a team of people working with him to do communications and outreach and marketing. And you don't have to be an expert, because one of the things I like about Oliver, he creates these awesome templates that we can reuse over and over again. We've also are working on, we've updated our KC website from NASPA in the past couple of months. And then we have some really nice handouts that we've used for marketing and plan to use at NASPA if we would have been there this week. So there's also a big component of our recruitment process. We've also, me and Ashley have put one of our focus on with our recruitment process in diversifying our leadership team when it comes to every type of identity you can think of. And so we've been very intentional of being as inclusive as possible in our recruitment process. We also are engaging all of our KC members and those outside of our KC members by seeing that a lot of people of us have dual roles, and so you just don't have to be actively involved in our WHPKC. And so we really want to emphasize that you don't have to pick one. You can be involved in a variety of KCs. Many of us are. And so we wanted to emphasize that as a big component of moving into this fiscal year. Last but not least, knowledge building and sharing. One of the biggest things about this unfortunate time is that we have been doing a lot of knowledge building and sharing across many of our national organizations, from NASPA to ACHA, ACUI, ACPA. And so that has been refreshing to see all of our colleagues across the country share information, not having to feel like they have to build things from scratch. And so while this was a goal for Ashley and I, we're already 2 steps ahead because of these unfortunate events with COVID-19. And so we really want to focus on, over the next year, telling the stories of our health promotion partners across the country. And so we haven't figured out how we want to do that and how we want to share our stories, but we're intentional about figuring out how we want to do that. I know a couple of us within our KC have been actively involved for such a long time, and we would like to highlight a lot of the work that have paved the way for many of us. And so we'll be working on this year to figure out how to highlight those of us who are doing health and wellness work in higher ed and how to recognize each of us. Within NASPA, we have a couple of requirements we have to do on an ongoing basis. We have to have at least one publication. So I want to give a shout out to Oliver again, who did our publication for last year on collective impact. It was awesome read. If you haven't had a chance to read it, please take your time. And if you want to have some light reading to do over the next couple of weeks, feel free to read that one. And then also 3 sponsored events at the National Convention. We had 3 great workshops that were selected from Alicia, enjoy for this upcoming NASPA conference, but unfortunately we're not able to see those. But we're hoping that, because many of those presenters we know personally across our executive board, we're hopefully that over this next year we can reach out to those presenters and get them to present on a different type of platform moving forward. I know Ashley and I both were supposed to be presenting at NASPA, so we're hoping to just not lose that initiative and those great workshops that we had planned and still offer them to our KC and others over this next year. So again, as I mentioned earlier, we do have quite a few positions open, but I want to really emphasize some of the new positions that we created. So at NASPA Strategies, the exec team and some people who were at the conference sat down at our business meeting and we talked about how we would like to see our KC move forward. And so because of that, we created some new positions for our KC and also some new awards. So now we have created a new ACHA Nurse Liaison. We now have a sponsorship and fundraising coordinator for our KC, a professional development coordinator. We still have our longstanding secretary and historian position and newsletter manager. I know Oliver has kind of taken over not only newsletter, but marketing communications, but we've tried to separate those out moving forward. We added a public policy coordinator because there's so much policy that's impacting the work that we do. So we added that as a new position. We maintained the membership engagement coordinator position, and then we added an awards coordinator because our KC at this moment hasn't had any awards in its history. And so we submitted 4 awards about a month and a half ago to NASPA for approval. We still have our publications coordinator, but we added the social events coordinator because what we found out is that we were not quite as intentional on gathering outside of our business meeting, but we really want to do some social activities moving forward. So we added that position. And then one of my new favorite ones is the graduate student liaison. We really want to make sure that we recruit people from the graduate student positions while they're in school to be actively involved, not just in NASPA, but within our KC. So we now have that position. And all of our regional positions are now up. We have hit the 2020 year, and unfortunately, because of turnover, we have now emptied out all of our regional positions. So we're actively looking to fill all of those positions. And then in October, we will have our co-chair elections. I am aware that we have 2 people who've reached out already with interest in running for those positions, but those will be officially launched sometime around September, October, similarly to what happened with me and Ashley about a year and a half ago. And so with that, those positions are all posted within the NASPA Volunteer Central. Please take your time to fill those out. We're just asking for a brief statement on why you're interested in submitting your resume. And then Ashley and I will be meeting on Friday to review all of the applications, and so we can start building our new executive team. It is our hope that we just don't have one person for each of those positions. We really want to have 2 to 3 people so that the weight can be spread, the work can be spread across multiple people, and it's not just resting on the one person, as a lot of the issues that we had in the previous years, that there was one person and then that person had incredible opportunities, increased workload at their positions, and then they had to step down. And so we're looking not just for one person to fill those positions, but multiple people. The awards that were submitted for our KC that we're still awaiting approval for is the KC Outstanding Student Award, Outstanding New Professional Award, Outstanding Professional Award, those who've worked over 5 years, and then the Outstanding Campus Program Award. And so those were the 4 we narrowed down from the executive team and moved forward. Their full descriptions are within our executive team's Google Drive, but for those who have more questions, we'll share those once we get approval, hopefully from NASPA moving forward. We do have some social media engagement that hasn't unfortunately been as active as possible. Again, the weight has been on Oliver, and so we're looking for people to help us navigate our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We also have a Snapchat, but I do not have Snapchat, but we do have a Snapchat also for our KC that we're hoping to be more engaged in moving forward. And then last but not least, we are preparing for NASPA Strategies 2021. And it's our hope that beyond this COVID-19 that we start to find some new normalcy and ways to still engage at the conference next year. So we'll be at Boston, Massachusetts in 2021 at the Marriott Copley Place. And then the biggest part I want to emphasize is that I'm also serving on the planning committee as some of the others I see up here on the panel today. My hope is that we get a lot more people interested in submitting their proposals. So the call for programs will be September the 16th. And so I'm hoping that for many of you that you will take the time while you're at home. I know some of us, our workloads have not changed or gotten lighter since we've been working from home. Many of us that I've talked to have felt like we've worked twice as hard. But on September the 16th, feel free to work toward getting your abstracts and your submissions submitted. The KC, not the KC, the KC always has a representative on that planning committee, and that is me. But that committee just had their first meeting last week, and they're hopeful to get the ideas and the themes and everything for the conference over the next month or two to share those out for those who will be writing proposals. The early bird registration will be October the 28th, and then the regular registration deadline is December the 9th of this year, and December the 21st is the hotel deadline. And so those really were the hot topics that we had for our topic of conversation today for the KC. I will find a way, and I probably can get with Oliver to figure out how we can post it on our social media so you can at least see the agenda from today. But I really wanted to share that. I have everybody's picture from our leadership team up here, but I really want to give you all a chance to open it up for questions. I don't know if we can unpause or unmute everyone, but I really want to figure out, does anyone have questions about the KC and how you want to get involved, or how we can make the KC better moving forward in the next year? Open up the chat. Oh, and so Ashley told me to mention the collaboration grant that we submitted. I don't know when we will find out with it, but we did a collaboration grant with the sustainability KC that Ashley wrote with one of their co-chairs. And so we should find out hopefully soon. I don't know if things got the timing got off a little bit, but we did submit a collaboration grant for our KC with the sustainability grant, and hopefully we'll hear more about that soon. If you do have questions, feel free to type them into the chat. I can see the chat, or if you have the ability to unmute, you can unmute yourself and share any questions or comments that you would like to talk about concerning our KC.
Hi, this is Joy Allison from Baruch College.
Hey, Joy.
Just wanted, hello. Been quite busy. I hope everybody is well. I was just saying hello. I don't have any action items to share, but be well, and hope everybody's okay.
Thank you so much, Joy.
And, yes, and one other thing, I wanted to share that, Shantae, thank you so much. I just wanted to let everybody know that you did a presentation for health services for CUNY as a professional development, and I really appreciate this committee in terms of the brilliancy that we have and using our experiences and information to share out with folks. So thank you for that, Shantae.
No problem. So I stretched my wings and tested my knowledge skills. I did an hour and a half presentation for the community system on health services, and unfortunately, not all who can see the benefit of the work that we do. And so I really focused on the presentation and sharing how to highlight the work that we do using Oh, great. I've been unmuted. Yay. Um, one of the presentation hot topics was how to highlight and showcase how we are important to the work that we do here in college health. Unfortunately, some campuses have been outsourced. And so I talked about collaboration. I talked about data and assessment, and showcasing the work that we do to impact student retention, specifically also recruitment. And so that was a great presentation with the community system, and it was well attended, but also it was a great way to showcase how to work with our partners across the country, especially when they're dealing with some of the tough times of showcasing the work that we do and how important it is that we collaborate, and have a presence on campus that is centered and student focused in the work that we do. So those were some of the things I did for that presentation. I'm happy to share that it was a great experience a couple weeks ago. Oliver or Ashley, can you think of anything else that has come up over the past year that you would like to share with the attendees? We have around 35 that I can see up here. Or if we have any other questions from the group that you want to either type in, or if you want to get unmuted, let us know. I'm curious to hear from those in attendance what your thoughts are. Who said I have a quick update since everybody else has my name? Is it you, daughter? Raise your hand if you need to speak. Doug, did you want to say something? Yes. NASPA, can you mute me and unmute Doug? He's in the bottom left hand panel, at least from my screen. And if I'm not mistaken, Doug, you're co-chairing our our working group for the NASPA 2021 conference. Okay. Oliver and Ashley, can you hear me? Okay, because I just got an email from somebody I know that's up here. They said they couldn't hear. Doug, it says you're unmuted, but I don't know. Okay, so somebody says they had a question about what's the purpose of our KC, and what is the KC and what is its purpose? And so I think I'm going to kind of show my age, but I do remember when the conversation first started to create the wellness and health promotion knowledge community some years ago, as more of a different subset within NASPA, because a lot of the times the work that was happening was kind of separated out in different areas. And so there was a group of professionals who came together to create this KC with the purpose of pulling us all together and bringing our knowledge and our expertise specifically to this KC to emphasize that, one, we are a key component of student well-being outside of the academic piece within our campus, but also to really figure out what is happening. So they worked on some definitions, they worked on some of the language that has been used in our, not just here within also other national organizations. They worked on some major components of what wellness and health promotion is. I think the definitions and how people have used certain terminology over the years have varied from campus to campus. This is also the Okanagan Charter really spearheaded this conversation to make sure that we had, I guess, a grounding in the work that we do, and that we are mindful that wellness is not just departments, but it's the approach that we take to centering student well-being in and outside of the classroom. And it's a culture that it's a culture we build on our campuses. And a lot of times I could say 10 years ago or 20 years ago when I was an undergrad and I was a peer educator, it really was just about outreach and passive-based programming. What this KC really wanted to do was take us just away from just the outreach and those type of programs to really say, no, we're not just peer education programs. We're not just student health with Band-Aids and when people are sick, infirmary type methodologies that have really been longstanding, unfortunately for some of us, but we're really beyond that. We are a true force to really engage students and keep them here through recruitment and retention purposes. And so the KC pulled together some of the people I've known for quite some time to build this. Doug was definitely, I believe, part of that group, and some people like Paula Swinford. I'm thinking of some names that's on the planning committee that have done some of this work to pull together not only just this KC, but also that track that you see within the conference, the Wellness and Health Promotion Leadership track for strategies. And so the goal has been to pull people together. Not everyone has a health promotion, health education, wellness background, but we are purposeful in the work that we do to be mindful that it's not just degrees that center the work that we do. They also have worked a lot to go across to other national organizations. So there are people from other areas across campus within our KC. So you'll see people from housing, you'll see AOD people, you'll see people from NERSA, you'll see people from IPV, counseling, all within this KC. I think this KC really shows the intersectionality of the work that we do across our campuses. And so our KC is just not centered on those who do the work within health promotion, health and wellness offices. You'll see a variety of us. And even from me and Ashley as your co-chairs, we have similar but very different backgrounds. And I know Ashley has been a Title IX coordinator before. She has had multiple hats, and I have come up through the peer education route. And so again, just showcasing that this KC doesn't have a specific subset. So the KC is evolving, and that's the whole purpose that me and Ashley, we've talked at least once a week since October, November, just to really get a sense of, we don't want the vision of this KC to be us. And we're hoping that we get a wide array of professionals to really bring us together to see where the KC is. And good assessments is to figure out where you are and build upon that. And we have a pretty good foundation, but we also have had some turnover in leadership. And so we're trying to see what the vision for our KC should be moving forward. There's a lot of good things happening to build off of from the Okanagan Charter. We have collective impact. We now have, I know ACHA is changing their Healthy Campus platform on how some campuses are utilizing that. You have some of us in AVP positions like myself who are working on building some key performance indicators to do this work. So there's so much going on, and I think this is the goal for this KC is to pull all of the information together and really help create some foundational work that we can put out so that our partners who are one-person teams or smaller departments can build upon and use these resources. And so that's a long answer to saying what the KC is, but it's a way of showcasing that it's been multifaceted. And I don't think our KC really has one specific focus. I think we can really look at the intersectionality of the work that we do that grounds us in all of this. And so that's what I've seen. I kept seeing some head nods from Oliver and Ashley and others. So I hope I was heading down the right path. But yes, it has been ever evolving, and we're hoping that it will continue to grow now. And so Doug, are you unmuted now?
Yes, finally. All right. Good morning, Sante. Good morning, everybody. My name is Doug Everhart. I am the director of the Center for Student Wellness and Health Promotion at UC Irvine. I'm also co-chairing with Nikki Brower the planning committee for the strategies, wellness and health promotion leadership track of that conference. So just wanted to mention that Thank you, Shantae, for doing such a great job of giving all the deadlines and promoting the conference. We are moving forward, all hands on deck and all engines powered to have the conference in Boston. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty with what will be coming in the next few months, but we are hopeful that it's all going to work out, and that's what we're planning for. So I did want to mention that while September 16th is the deadline for program submissions, they're hoping to open up the call for programs on May 1st. That is right now the target date for proposals to be open. So you don't have to wait till September 16th. In fact, I wanted to jump on and say, please don't wait till September 16th. We would like to just get people kind of moving forward with submitting proposals as soon as you're ready. And if you know folks that you think should be promoting or presenting, please help promote that, because like Shantae just got done saying, this work is being done in a variety of different ways with a lot of cross-sectionality, and that's what health promotion leadership is about, is creating the capacity for everybody to do the work of health promotion, not just those that have the quote-unquote title of health promotion, if they do. So that said, let's all work together as a knowledge community and a health promotion community, and the cross-sectionality of that community to get folks to present and share what they're doing and being leaders in the field.
Doug, can you just add a component? I know I wasn't on the call Thursday, but I got to read the minutes and read the survey results from the previous 2 years. So I read the results from the conference this year, but I think a lot of people are asking us as we move forward with the conference to create some specificity on what type of program we're offering. And so hopefully maybe we all can get together and do a brief webinar on what's the entry level type of presentation, what's a mid-level, what's a expertise type presentation. I think that was the most common emphasis this year and last year on making sure when we write our program proposals and we say we're emphasizing a certain key component, or we're emphasizing diversity, equity, and inclusion, that we really are doing those things and not just using it to get our abstracts read or rated higher. So can you talk about that briefly?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things we did talk about was that whole environment of the proposal and what is being looked for and what will be accepted and how they're graded or scored, I should say. So one of some of the feedback was it felt like some people just checked a box with their proposals, we are going to cover equity, diversity, and inclusion. And it was presented as kind of an afterthought. Also with engagement of the audience. Some people came in and they were presenting data. So their intention was not really to engage the audience, and that's not what the purpose of the presentation was. So we had a conversation about just encouraging people in their proposals to be authentic with what you're trying to accomplish. So we're looking at, I don't know if I'd say restructuring, but being a little bit more clear in the proposal guidelines that if you're not going to engage the audience and you're really just presenting data or presenting a theory or whatever it might be, and you're not really looking to engage the audience, then just say that. And you won't be held, or your score won't reflect negatively that way. And then same thing, obviously we value and want people to include diversity inclusion areas, but I hesitate to say, if you're not going to do that, don't put it in, but just say, if it's not going to be a central piece of your presentation, don't check a box and say you're going to do it, and then it's going to come across that you're not really doing that. So I think we're just looking for ways for people to be more authentic in what they're really trying to accomplish through both the learning objectives, which we might even change. There was even conversation about changing learning objectives to session objectives, because maybe you're not trying to get people to learn, you're just trying to share a concept or share a theory or share some data. I mean, that's learning, but you may not want people to walk away with a certain thing, but being more clear with what you're really trying to accomplish. So I think that kind of addresses the whole range of what people are trying to do with their workshops and just being more authentic, and that way it can be scored appropriately.
Thank you so much, Doug. And that is exciting to hear. That is really exciting to hear. And I know a lot of people are nervous about, this is my first time presenting. I'm hopeful that we can get on the next call how to work with people who've never presented before and how to, if not do a clearinghouse on how you can connect people who have a topic area and can connect with others across campus, especially for those who are newer to the field. It's harder to know what's happening on the Pacific Northwest side of the country if you're on the southeast side of the country. And literally what I've seen on the back end is that the proposals are very similar. You probably just don't know each other. So
Right.
hopefully we can figure out a way to start connecting people this year moving forward. And maybe that's an idea we can talk about at the next meeting on how to maybe do I'm trying to think almost as if people can submit, maybe do a Google form of, hey, I have this topic area. Can you connect me to people? That's actually how me and Ashley got connected. We both said we want to be co-chairs, but we want to be chairs, but we don't want to do it by ourselves. We would love to co-chair only, and that's how we got connected. And so maybe we can do a clearinghouse. That's the word that was coming to my mind on how to start connecting people early on in writing these proposals. I did see. Go ahead.
Add one more point. So you just talked about getting people to collaborate on things, which is a great idea because obviously there's a lot of proposals that are submitted. And if we have 5 different proposals that are really doing the same thing, how can we get people to put together maybe a panel version of that program? I will use the example of bystander intervention. I went to a session in DC, which was I think 2 years ago at the Strategies Conference on bystander intervention. And I think 4 or 5 different campuses talked about the different program models that they're using. And that was a great session. Each of them probably could have done a full session on their own, but they collaborated and put together that they're using different programs and different models and different formats. And it was very a good session. I didn't say that very well, but anyways, it was a good session. But one of the conversations was coming out of this COVID-19 situation. Obviously, there's probably going to be a lot of how did we respond to COVID-19 and what were the strategies we used. So we're going to start from the get-go, encouraging people to not just do individual programs and how you responded to COVID-19, but maybe talk to other colleagues and other campuses and talk about how you can do a panel presentation on the very different ways that different campuses addressed this so that people can get a broad perspective, because as we all know, not everything's going to work for every campus. So the more variety you get in approaches and strategies, the better off you have a chance of pulling away something that's going to work for you. And it might be multiple things from different campuses that you're combining to make work for you.
Awesome.
Doug, I finally got unmuted so I can talk. That's the longest I've been quarantined. I want to talk a little bit about the collaboration grant, which the purpose of that is to come together and have collaboration with the other KCs. And so the proposal, if approved, is to have how does sustainability, how does the environment overlap with public health? And we are seeing that head on right now with the COVID-19. But we see that each and every day in our own work as well, where we know that our impacts of the environment are impacting our public health and health promotion across campuses. And so hopefully, if approved, we wanted to bring that to the Strategies Conference as well, through some kind of panel talking about environmental health as well as personal health and well-being. So I'm not sure where that is. I'll reach out to NASPA to see. Originally, the date of approval is something mid-April, so maybe that will be still their timeline, but we hope to find out more. But we do want to collaborate with other KCs to bring them into the Strategies Conference as well, because that's a piece that you do not traditionally see. You might see 1 or 2 Nature RX type programs, but you don't really see the full overlap that sustainability and health promotion have.
I do see a question up here about, can you volunteer if you recently joined the KC? Absolutely, absolutely. There is no timeline or amount of time you have had to be a part of NASPA. I know many of us early in our careers, if our campuses didn't cover this as professional development, the choice of whether or not we could be a part of it and join was a choice between this and potentially another bill. And so I'm definitely very mindful of there's no timeline to being involved. And even if you want to do things outside of the executive team, please reach out and let us know. I think any of us would take any type of situational assistance if any of you all want to be volunteers instead of joining the full leadership team. I am a big proponent of building up your resumes and building up your ability to engage and network. And the best way to do it is to be a part of some type of entity within our national organization. So please, absolutely. And that's another reason why we built the ACHA NERSA liaison position and also our graduate student position, because we wanted to showcase that there is a really great component of being engaged. And many of us knew about each other probably by namesake, but never saw each other until we joined this KC specifically. And many of us also mentor. And so however you want to get involved, there's definitely space in place for you within our KC. But we would welcome anybody joining us through our KC leadership team. I do have around 5 applications right now, so that's exciting to see. But we're hoping to get more so we can fill and have a full executive board. But we'll keep these positions open, because once we fill the positions, we'll start really getting ready to do the 2021-2022 exec board, so we have some continuity and there won't be a full turnover of the executive board. And because of that, me and Ashley, the last positions that we created for our KC, which are new, is past co-chair positions. So we will stay on for another full year to onboard the new co-chairs or chair for our KC, so that way there will be some continuity from person to person. And we felt that would be the best thing to do moving forward. Oliver, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, can I add to that? Can you all hear me first of all, or?
Absolutely.
Yay, okay, this is great.
And happy belated birthday.
So, good morning, everybody. My name is Oliver Tacto, and I'm from the University of Southern California. I work right under Paula Swinford, who many of you all know. One thing that I also want to add on to one of the things that we do as a KC is that we also promote not just health promotion and well-being, but we're looking at even social innovation. What are some new ways and best practices that we can use the tools that we have, use the data that we gather to create new changes across the university? And part of what that includes, what Doug was talking about, this idea of collaboration, is that, you know, we hold so much information when it comes to the health and well-being of our students that it would be a disservice if we did not share that with the rest of the campus, right? So if we were to look at your data, and I'm a data geek, like I just love numbers, but if that's something that, you know, the cultural centers are looking into, what does disaggregated look like for their particular communities? What are some ways that we can work together and collaborate? Maybe apply a collective impact format on your campuses in ways that we can work together. One thing that I'm working on, if we're talking about innovation, and this goes close to what Ashley was saying, this idea of working with your environment and how can your physical and natural environments impact or promote the well-being of your students. So some of you may know that I'm a doctoral candidate at the School of Social Work here at USC, and my work is looking at how we can measure the success or the impact of our natural environment, our built environment on our campuses, and what can that do to the students in their health and well-being. And I was inspired, actually, Doug, in your presentation in NASPA, when you're looking at sustainability and biophilic design. Like, I asked the question, how do we measure that? And there was no concrete answer. And I'm like, you know what? I think this is something that our KC can work on and create a new measure. So that's something innovative, is actually create a new tool and look at different campuses and see where does the environment fall in regards to the health and well-being of our students. So that's just one solid example. But if you all have any either creative ideas, ways to promote the health and well-being of your students that go beyond just central programming, this is the place to do it. This is where we can collaborate, build ideas, and share ideas back out to the community, and hopefully, with their professional development, present that back to the larger NASPA. So looking forward to meeting all of you and excited about the work.
Any other questions? I know I went through all of the questions I could see through the chat box, but if there are others, feel free to write your questions in the chat box. I also am serving as a liaison to ACHA, as I'm on the health promotion committee, but also the professional development committee. And one of the upcoming webinars that I will be sharing out with each of you is how to publish so many of us do great work, and we think because either we're not working on our doctorates like Oliver and I did, or we're not faculty members, that we don't have a really good way of showcasing our work through research or any type of options that are available through some of the professional organizations, but also some of those components that we do that can be beneficial for the larger body. And so I have a panel of experts. I'll be the person that will be serving as the engager, and so we have Dr. Alicia Battle, Dr. Alicia Boutte, and Dr. Raphael Coleman also doing this webinar for the ACHA Health Promotion Group on how to publish in different forms of publishing as practitioners. A lot of us are either scholar practitioners or just fully practitioners, and so I'm excited to share that. That'll be coming up in April, and I'll share that information with everyone. So those who are part of ACHA can hopefully sit in on that discussion. They are giving professional development credit for that, and so I'm excited to showcase that. There's so much ways we can collaborate, but also ways we can engage others do a lot of the work that we do, and definitely embracing data and assessment, because it makes a lot of us nervous as practitioners. We are high on touch points with students, but we have really great data, and learning how to showcase that in a variety of ways can be so important, and that includes publishing the great work that we do across journals and different things like that. So I'll make sure we get that shared out to the larger body. Any final thoughts or questions? I don't see anything else in the chat box, but I want to make sure I open it up back to Ashley, Oliver, or Doug before we wrap up today. Ashley gave the thumbs up. Doug gave the thumbs up. Oliver gave the thumbs up. Well, I want to thank each of you. I'll get with Oliver. Oliver, I'll send you the PDF and potentially try to get a JPEG copy of the agenda so we can at least get it out through social media, or I can put it in our Google Drive and make it an open link. So for those who would like to see the full agenda from today. But as I mentioned earlier, we are welcoming any and everyone to be highly engaged in our KC. Please apply for some of our open leadership positions. If that's not appropriate for you at the moment, reach out to Ashley and I. We can figure out ways to keep you busy, even if it's just on a situational or a case-by-case basis on upcoming projects. And so thank you all for your time and energy. I hate to say self-care, because self-care is such a hot topic word right now, but I just say be mindful of your person, place, and space, especially in the times where a lot of things can take our attention, and stress is engaging each of us very differently. Love yourself and love each other, and hopefully we'll see each other very soon outside of these walls of technology, at some upcoming conferences, and outside of that, feel free to reach out to us, and I wish each of you well and talk to you soon. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you. Take care.